The ceasefire deal to stop the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah is now in effect. It took hold more than an hour ago, putting a stop to months of hostilities. An uneasy calm hangs over Beirut, which just a few hours ago witnessed missile strikes by the IDF, killing at least 18 people. U.S. President Joe Biden, who announced the deal, said it is intended to be a permanent end to the conflict. He said it will protect Israel from further attacks by Iran-backed Hezbollah. The deal mandates the withdrawal of Israeli forces from its border with Lebanon over the next 2 months. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the ceasefire will allow Israel to focus on the threat posed by Iran. But he warned that the IDF will not hesitate to strike again if Hezbollah threatens Israel. For more insights on the truce and whether it'll help end the hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah, let's speak with Dr. Cedomir Nestorovic, professor of geopolitics at the ESSEC Business School Asia-Pacific. He joins us live from Tokyo. Dr. Nestorovic, thank you so much for speaking with us. The ceasefire has reportedly been in effect for more than an hour now. Can we expect it to hold?
I do hope that we can expect it to hold, and I think that both parties are anxious in order to settle the deal before President Trump comes to office. So I believe that both sides have a very big interest in holding the ceasefire for the moment.
Who is monitoring the implementation of the ceasefire, and how will they ensure that neither side violates it?
So that's the problem that we have, because we don't have an international commission, we don't have international monitors of the agreement that we have for the ceasefire. So we have to trust both sides that nothing will come in the future. But maybe in the future, if the ceasefire is holding, they will set up a special commission or a special committee in order to monitor the ceasefire.
U.S. President Joe Biden had said the deal was meant to be a permanent ceasefire, but the agreement is only good for 60 days. Help us understand, how exactly will this work?
So I think that during the 60 days, they will try their best in order to secure the freedom of the hostages on one side, and on the other side, they want to be sure that Israel doesn't intervene in Gaza as it has intervened before. So on both sides, we have to give guarantees that something tangible is coming out from the ceasefire. It is not only the ceasefire that they are stopping fighting, but we need some tangible elements outside of it.
Looking at both the sides involved, Hezbollah had previously vowed to continue fighting Israel until it ends its war in Gaza, while the right-wing Israelis argue that a ceasefire now is a lost opportunity to eliminate Hezbollah. So why have both sides agreed to this deal now? What brought them together?
Well, you're right. We had the maximum demands. So on both sides, that is on Hezbollah and for Israel, they had the maximum demands, which are maybe unrealistic. That is, they will never accomplish them. So in the meantime, they will look for something which is optimal result today. And the optimal result is the ceasefire, the liberation of the hostages, and to stop the intervention of Israel in Gaza. So I think that is the optimal and the realistic outcome that we can have, rather than having some maximal objectives that could not be realized.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the ceasefire will let Israel focus on the Iranian threat. What exactly does he mean? Are we just going to see a shift in the conflict?
I believe that if the ceasefire holds, in that case, they can free some of the engaged units that we have in Gaza and put them in Lebanon or in some other places, because they expect that Iran will not stay idle, and they expect that maybe Iran will continue its operations against Israel. So they need troops in order to do so. But if the troops are stretched in Gaza, they cannot answer this kind of demand. So I believe that from his point of view, it is better to have a ceasefire in order to concentrate on a bigger threat, which is coming from Iran and the Hezbollah.
So what does this mean for Gaza then? Could a ceasefire there be on the cards?
So the ceasefire is the only way for the Gazans in order to have some life, because so far they have been pushed towards the very limit of the existence. So in fact, they don't have any other hope than the ceasefire today. So the ceasefire will not resolve the situation, but at least it will stop the operations that we have today.
Could the ceasefire improve humanitarian efforts in the region?
Everyone is hoping for that. Everyone is hoping that we can open some more doors, especially from the Egyptian side, in order to deliver the help and aid to the Gazan population. So this is obviously what they have in mind, because they cannot continue to have this kind of conflict forever.
So the U.S. says it is currently trying to help negotiate for a ceasefire in Gaza. What needs to happen for this to take place?
I think that for the moment, they have to put pressure on both sides. That is on the Gazan side, but also concerning the Israeli side. So for the Israeli side, we know who is the person. So in that case, it is the Prime Minister Netanyahu. They have to put pressure on. Concerning Gaza, it is much more difficult, especially if some countries are pulling out of the negotiation process, such as Qatar. So we have to find the new intermediaries if Qatar doesn't want to do so, and we have to find new interlocutors. So it will take maybe a little bit more time. So they're starting with the ceasefire first, and after that, they have to think about the lasting peace and who is going to participate in these negotiations.
Who do you think could be a possible intermediary if Qatar is out?
So if Qatar is out, we have some neighboring countries. So a neighboring country, for instance, can be Jordan. So this country is can be involved, especially because we have a very strong Palestinian population which lives in Jordan. So maybe Jordan can play this role. Egypt is also on the table. But besides Jordan and Egypt, I cannot see other countries, especially coming from the Gulf, which can replace Qatar.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. We were speaking to Dr. Cedomir Nestorovic, professor of geopolitics at ESSEC Business School Asia-Pacific.